Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Landorus, the last of the genies. I think it's weird that they made this trio get split up till after the Zekrom and Reshiram, but then it's also before Kyurem, so that means it splits up Zekrom and Reshiram's trio. I have no idea what's going on, but the stats are going to be really interesting, because when it comes down to it, it's going to have different stats than Thundurus or Tornadus, and by a pretty interesting margin, that we're going to have more on the defense, more on the hit points, and then less on the speed, but it means that Landorus is still going to have higher base stats. Also, where Thundurus and Tornadus have a higher special attack, Landorus is going to have a higher attack. In the end, though, we are a 101 base speed Pokemon. We're not a crazy level of sweeper. We're not going to outspeed everything. We do outspeed base 100 speed, which is nice. But then we have 125 on the attack. We've seen Pokemon with higher attack. So, I mean, it's going to be mostly down to coverage and typing things. Ground flying. So, yeah, we're going to be a ground flying typing, which means a 4 times weakness to ice. If Landorus sees an ice type attack, it's gone. Also, it doesn't have the craziest defenses. Like, if it invests into defenses, it might survive some super effective hits, so water is a pretty safe bet to knock it out as well. But we do have ground and electric immunities, and then we have resistance to fighting poison and bug. So, it's pretty fair. I mean, we have like a super weakness to ice, but we get a lot of immunities and some decent resists overall, as well as having the stats to back it up. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, Landorus is really tricky to talk about. That's because of the hidden ability Sheer Force. So Sheer Force is amazing, and it makes this Pokemon pretty powerful. However, it's not accessible in the 6th generation. So pretty much most official formats are going to have 6th generation only Pokemon. They have to be caught and bred in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire or Kalos. The reason why they did this is because there's a lot of hacked Pokemon coming from the Poke Transporter, and with Landorus being a legendary, it's naturally going to be hacked a lot, and then Hidden Power does add another layer to this. So like Sheer Force and Power and having the right IVs, there's a lot of hacked ones out there. But if you get in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it's going to have the Sand Force ability, which is much less powerful. Like maybe a singles or doubles Sand team, but then you probably have to Scarf it, and you're only doing okay amounts of damage. You might find some 2-hit KOs, or 1-hit KOs if you're hitting Super, but you're locked in. So it really doesn't become that good in 6th generation formats. And that is the thing to consider. I just have Thundurus up here so we can compare stats as well. So we are gaining 20 on the defense and 10 on the hit points, but we're losing 10 in the speed. And that's kind of it. So it's like a really interesting way the stats change around. Now when it comes to using Landorus, say we have Sheer Force, say the format doesn't matter that you're allowed to use Poke Transporter. It's an alright sweeper when we break it down, because it's mostly about having the right coverage and then going for Rock Polish and outspeeding. It's actually on the level of a Greninja when you start to break it down. Greninja doesn't have insane amounts of special attack, but when it has the Protean ability boosting everything, it gets pretty decent and then you Life Orb it. Sheer Force with the 115 special attack is going to make all the moves you use effectively Protean by that 30% and then having the extra damage on that special attack compared to Greninja. So it really kind of does the same things, and then you Rock Polish to give it speed, so now you outspeed everything and you're in the same boat as Greninja. You need the 1-hit KO, or you're going to be in trouble. Now, Landorus is tankier, so it can actually be a 2-hit KO Pokemon in a good amount of situations, but water or ice type attacks, that's going to be pretty problematic. Now, the really nice thing about Life Orb is that the recoil is negated by Sheer Force. Like, by having Sheer Force ability, you're negating the Life Orb as long as you're using it for the effect. Now, things start to get weird because these are special attacks, but we have a higher attack. Well, that's because Sheer Force is going to be much better on special attacks. Sludge Wave, 10% chance, so that's getting boosted to a lot. Psychic, 10%, boosted to a lot. Earth Power. Earth Power is giving us Stab, getting boosted, and going to be really, really nice, but why not Earthquake? It has higher base power. Well, Earthquake doesn't have any other thing going on for it, so it's just going to be 100 base power, which means we're getting surpassed in power by Earth Power because of the Sheer Force. And we also get the Life Orb benefit. Same with Stone Edge. You could use Stone Edge, but the high critical hit ratio doesn't count for Life Orb, so you're not getting any bonus damage, and that's really it. So the idea is you Rock Polish with coverage, you outspeed everything, and then you go for 2-hit KOs, or you make good predictions. If you try to predict into something that's going to stop you, and you land that as a super effective hit, or make an effective prediction, could be pretty hard to deal with you. Neutrally, you 2-hit KO a lot, so as long as you're not getting 1-hit KO'd back, you're at least going to make some trades. The idea is you set up Rock Polish, you take a hit, you finish off a low Pokemon, so you bring it in as a revenge, and you can probably 2-for-1 with the Landorus pretty effectively. So you Rock Polish in their face, you throw out the damage, they have to bring in a Pokemon, and if you hit it super effective, well then it just goes down anyways. If you have Stealth Rocks up, they can't have Focus Sash, but Focus Sash is a big problem. Focus Sash with like an Ice Beam or Hidden Power Ice will pretty much be your bane, or Mega Pokemon that has the Hidden Power Ice. So if there's a bulky Mega Pokemon that can hit you with Ice, that could get problematic. But for the most part, you can handle a pretty solid amount of Pokemon. So you're going to get a KO and do a lot of damage to the next Pokemon, unless it's late game. You bring in Landorus in the late game to where a lot of their Pokemon are around half or a little over, or you can like coverage out and hit super effectives. You're going to be good to go. Now, one cool trick I was told in a recent video that I don't know how I reviewed the entire Pokedex. I didn't know this. Special. Type in special, now I get special attacks. So we also get extra sensory, maybe the chance to flinch, psychic is more damage. Focus Blast. Focus Blast getting that sheer force damage boost is going to be crazy. However, 70% accuracy, that miss could be pretty harsh. Grass Knot. Grass Knot's going to be good against Pokemon that are water types, so you might have super effective damage against heavier water types or 4 times weak Pokemon. That could be pretty nice. And then the Hidden Power Ice. So for some reason, if you get a legal Hidden Power Ice, you should probably make use of that. So you're going to have good amounts of coverage. Psychic or Sludge Wave is going to be your next thing, because like Fairy killing is going to be awesome with the Sludge Wave Sheer Force Life Orb. However, while you are strong, you're not absolutely unstoppable. Sludge Wave, it's a super effective hit with Sheer Force shenanigans, but all you need is a full health invested Sylveon with Hidden Power Ice and Modest Nature, and you get to take care of it as a revenge. So pretty much it balances out really well, which is why I've discussed this with the Smogon ban video. This is the public service announcement. Landorus is usable in all forms of official play, and it's not really that insane of a Pokemon. So say you're bringing in Landorus and you set up Rock Polish and you score a KO. Well, to bring in Landorus as a revenge to Rock Polish into the KO, that means you lost a Pokemon. So then they bring in Sylveon. They lose their Pokemon, Sylveon comes in, it can eat a hit throughout the Hidden Power Ice, and then now you lose your Landorus because of that, unless you switch out, but then whatever. So really, it's a very balanced Pokemon that you might go 1 for 2 in good situations, maybe 3, but a lot of other Pokemon do that. If you give any Pokemon a turn to set up a Dragon Dance, a Rock Polish, an Agility, a Swords Dance, a lot of Pokemon can take that, and depending on the state of the game, they just run away, smash huge amounts of damage, and win with it. So Landorus is no different. It still does need to be protected. It can get one-shot by super effective hits. Strong neutral hits do threaten it. If it doesn't trade on those 2 for 2 areas, bulky Pokemon can threaten it. It's susceptible to getting stalled because it only has 3 moves. So if it doesn't bring the right moves, it can get stalled, it can just fall flat, or it can go for a pretty monstrous sweeps. Except for maybe Physical Landorus. Physical Landorus, it has the bulk up, it has knockoff. It will get outsped by quite a lot, so that could be a bit of a problem. Bulk up Calm Mind does give you some tanky options, reduces your coverage and whatnot. You don't get access to the roost, so your sustain is pretty hard. Mostly it's going to be like knockoff, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and maybe some kind of physical thing. We have Explosion on Landorus, so I mean, if you want to just be a hilarious physical Pokemon, you go with the Jolly Nature, you outspeed what you can, and then you just like maybe bulk up into a knockoff and then explode on the next Pokemon. 2 for 1 once again, just something your opponent might not expect. If they go into a special tank anticipating a special attack and then you knock off into maybe like an Earthquake or something, that could be pretty serious against a lot of Pokemon. That's really the damage that we're dealing with. But again, we aren't going to be getting as much out of the sheer force, so a physical Landorus is much more conceivable in 6th generation. So if you need a 6th generation Landorus, going to be physical, and it's going to be like a basic physical Pokemon. I mean, only 101 speed and 125 attack. We can take a Garchomp. Garchomp is going to do the same thing, but better, because it has higher attack and higher speed. Barely, but still more. And then it does effectively the same things, except it doesn't get the knockoff, but it gets poison jabs. But it gets to deal with fairy types, it has Swords Dance set up. Like, there's a lot of interesting things right here. So if you guys enjoyed the video, that's how you use Landorus, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.